I read the entire Bible looking for one exception. One person God lifted into something great without breaking them first. I never found him. Not Joseph, not Moses, not David, not Ruth, not Esther, not Paul. Every single one walked through the same 5 steps in the same order before God handed them anything. And here's the part that should stop you cold. If your life feels like it's coming apart right now, that's not God walking away from you. That might be step 3. So let me show you the whole pattern, and you tell me where you are in it. First, one thing has to click, or none of this lands. God does not promote people. He builds character, and the position is just the container he pours it into. Every delay, every closed door, every season that hurts is him building something inside you strong enough to hold what he's about to put on the outside. Handing someone power before they're ready doesn't bless them, it buries them. Just ask Saul. God gave him the crown before the character was there, and the whole thing fell apart in public. So God looked at that and said, "Never again. Not with you." Step 1. Before God gives you the thing, he gives you a glimpse of it, not the real thing, a preview. Joseph was 17 when God dropped 2 dreams into his head, his brothers' sheaves bowing down to his, the sun, the moon, and 11 stars bowing down. And then, here's the part people skip. Joseph spent the next 13 years as a slave and a prisoner, about as far from that dream as you can get. Notice the order. The dream came first, the suffering came after. God showed him the finish line before he put him on the road. He did the same with David, a crown promised while the kid was still out back watching sheep. And he's probably done it with you. Maybe it was a dream. Maybe it's a pull towards something you can't shake. Maybe it's a gift that keeps operating a size bigger than the room you're in. That glimpse isn't there to impress you. It's there so you have something to grip when everything else gets stripped away, which is exactly what happens next. Step 2. God strips away everything you were leaning on that wasn't him. And this one doesn't feel like preparation. It feels like demolition. Nebuchadnezzar was the most powerful king on earth. He built Babylon, stood on his palace roof over all of it, and said, "Look what I made. Look at my glory." And while the words were still in his mouth, God took it all: his crown, his palace, his mind. For 7 years, the most powerful man alive lived in a field like an animal until the day he finally looked up. And the second he stopped staring at himself and lifted his eyes to heaven, God gave it all back, and then some. But look what had to go first: everything he'd built his name on. Yours won't be that dramatic, but the pattern's the same. God works by subtraction before he works by addition. He'll pull the job that was quietly becoming your identity. He'll let the plan fall through, the one where you got there on your own terms, until the room goes quiet enough for you to finally ask what he actually wants. That thing you're gripping so hard right now might be the very thing he's asking you to let go of. Step 3. And this is the quiet one. God tests whether you'll be faithful when nobody's watching. Jesus said it flat out. Whoever's faithful with a little gets trusted with a lot. That's not a nice quote. That's the system God runs his promotions on. Back to Joseph. In Potiphar's house, he's a slave with 0 rights and no one checking on him. And he's so faithful in the small, unglamorous stuff that he gets put over the whole household. Then comes the moment nobody would have seen. Potiphar's wife, day after day, far from home, with no one around who knew his name. The easiest yes in the world. And he ran so hard he left his coat behind. And for doing the right thing in the dark, he got thrown in prison. But here's why it matters. When Joseph finally stood in front of Pharaoh, there was nothing hidden in him waiting to blow up. The character was already built where no one could see it. That's the whole game. Your public blessing gets built on your private integrity. God doesn't skip the small room to get you to the big one. He builds the big one out of what you did in the small. Step 4. Right when you need someone most, God lets them forget you. And this one cuts deeper because it's not a circumstance, it's a person. Joseph, again, is sitting in prison and he reads a dream for Pharaoh's cupbearer. He asks one thing: when you get out, remember me. The cupbearer walks free, straight into the palace, and forgets Joseph exists for 2 whole years. But watch what that forgetting actually did. If he'd remembered right away, Joseph walks out as an ex-slave who's decent with dreams, a novelty. Instead, because of that delay, Pharaoh has a dream 2 years later, and Joseph walks out as the second most powerful man in Egypt. The forgetting wasn't a glitch, it was the mechanism. Now think about your betrayal, the one who walked when they should have stayed, the one who took the credit. I won't tell you it was okay, because it wasn't. But God can use their failure to hand you something you couldn't have gotten any other way. Just know this: the grudge you're still carrying might be the one thing standing between you and the door. Step 5. And this is where most people quit. Because after all of it, the stripping, the waiting, the betrayal, the door finally starts to crack open. And then something happens that looks exactly like it's slamming shut. Look at Moses. He gets the whole nation out of Egypt. They're free. And then Pharaoh's army is roaring up behind them. The Red Sea is dead in front of them, and there's nowhere left to go. From every angle a human can see, it's over. And that's the exact moment God says, "Raise your staff." The final test almost always shows up dressed as defeat. It looks like proof that you heard God wrong, that you made it all up. And the only question that matters is whether you'll believe your eyes or believe what God already told you. David could have forced it. Twice he had the chance to kill the king hunting him and end the whole nightmare early. And twice he refused to force the door open ahead of God's timing. So here's the real question God is asking. Not, do you trust me when it makes sense? Do you trust me right now when it doesn't? Step back and look at the whole thing. A glimpse of what's coming. Then everything you leaned on stripped away. Then a long, quiet test where nobody's watching. Then a wound from someone you trusted. Then one last test that looks like the end. And then, only then, the elevation. Notice what every step was doing. The same thing. Building a character that leans on God and nothing else. The Joseph who ran Egypt was not the 17-year-old bragging about his dreams. Same guy, completely rebuilt. One warning before I let you go. Elevation might not look the way you're picturing it. For Joseph, it was saving millions of lives. For Paul, it was writing half the New Testament from a prison cell in chains. It's not always comfortable, It's not always visible, but it is always purpose. So hold God's faithfulness tighter than you hold your version of the outcome. Here's what I'll leave you with. The morning Joseph got promoted, he had no idea it was the day. He woke up a prisoner. He'd been forgotten for 2 years, capping off the worst 13 years you can imagine. And then a messenger showed up. Pharaoh is asking for you. He shaved, changed his clothes, walked into that throne room, and by sundown, he had a ring on his hand and command of a nation. Nothing about that morning looked like the day everything changed. But it was. You don't know what day you're on. You don't know how close you are. But you know exactly what to do while you wait. The same thing Joseph did in the pit, in Potiphar's house, in the prison. Stay faithful. Stay surrendered. Keep your eyes up. The door that opened for him opens for everyone built to walk through it. So let God finish building you. And do me one favor. Tell me in the comments which step you're standing in right now. Somebody else scrolling past needs to know they're not the only one.